Hey, Coach. Loved your remarks, by the way, after the game with the kind of it's on me thing as far as the practice and whatnot. How different is your preparation going to be here going forward, given that result Monday night?
Yeah, obviously, I've thought long about it. I mean, you kind of hope that doesn't happen, but when you've been doing this for so long, I mean, I know how to. I got all these stupid analogies. You're gonna bake a cake, and I know the ingredients. If you skip some ingredients, it's not gonna turn out. And so when you skip those kinds of things, our cake was flat. I mean, this is a contact sport. You can't, skip it. And so just talking with our trainers and everything. We're testing twice a week now. Now we're in season. So I feel like we can be safer. And we just go. We just go and talk with our team today just to make sure that everybody's comfortable with that too. Because I don't want to force anybody. Just hey, we're going to practice normally. The contact tracing in our league obviously is a little bit more stringent with all the face-to-face stuff, but we feel like, hey, if we're testing twice a week now. Some places like in the league they test daily, so you can mitigate that stuff, but we're at least up to twice a week. So I feel safe that we can practice going back to normal. We'll probably hit a little bit more than we would in the season. Like even if we're in the season right now, we wouldn't do as much because you don't tackle and stuff like that during the season, but obviously missing all that stuff. It's like you have a process and you go from A to K, you skip everything in between it. And obviously your words don't make sense because you skip all those ingredients. So they were a team well prepared. They were a team just prepared normally. That's what they look like. They look like they were playing a game. We were playing first scrimmage. It was like the first scrimmage against somebody. That's what it looked like. But how would you expect anything differently? And so you kind of hope, and I knew all of this before that. I was just kind of weighing it, safety, this, okay, we'll see the football part of it. And I've thought about it over the weekend stuff. I think I feel better about being able to press forward with, twice a week testing. But like I said, after the game, I still feel like if I was to do it again, I'd probably do it the same way. I'm a football coach, but you're in charge of people's lives too, and their safety. And we just unfortunately buried one of our players a couple months ago. And so I'm not saying that everybody dies from COVID-19, and there's fortunately those that are healthier seem to live and do okay with it. But all those stuff factor in, when you make these kinds of decisions. To me, it's more than winning games. First of all, you always take care of people, make sure people are healthy. But I feel better now. I feel better with having two tests. You obviously don't feel better with the results. It sucks losing, especially losing like that. We've never lost like that at home. We've never lost like that to anybody since I've been a coach. It's just, and it could have got worse, but again, they were a team that could tell had been playing and practicing normal. And we looked like a team that had our first live interaction. We looked horrible. Yeah. But it wasn't the players' fault, wasn't the assistant coach's fault. I had our guys try to get ready under those circumstances, which you can't do.
Looking forward, what's the positive side of that Temple game getting pushed back the way it is and giving you that time in between?
Well, I think all of it's good, Randy. I feel all of it's good. I feel like we're better. We've had several tests, and we've been really clean. Don't have any positives, so there's a lot of good things from that standpoint, which was my number one goal on all of it from the beginning of it. Not just to play a season, but to keep people safe. So I feel good about the extra time we can prepare football-wise, especially now with the two tests per week. So I feel like we can start preparing a little bit normally. Like I said, I always started with the COVID-19 stuff first, and then worked for the football second. I feel like we can do football stuff now and keep our guys safe, keep our players safe. So I feel good about that. And extra time will definitely help us.
That's good. All right, thank you.
Kareem Copeland, Washington Post.
Hey, Ken. Kareem, Washington Post. Quick question. I was curious, what was the conversation like with the doctors or the medical folks when you start to discuss going back to, I guess, full normal practices, number one? And number two, will you guys have actual scrimmages now? Or any scrimmaging as you get ready to prepare?
Oh, yeah, we're going to practice normal. We're just going to do normal. And, you know, it obviously, I mean, that game, I mean, like I said, it was your worst nightmare, but you kind of hope it wouldn't happen. There was a high likelihood that would happen, not hitting, not doing anything live. You know, last time we tackled somebody was in the bowl game. You know, only tackling we did were donuts, and the only blocking we did were bags. So there's a high likelihood that's what it would look like. But I knew that, and I still made that decision. And so talking with the doctors or our medical guys is like, well, you know, I feel a little bit better that we're testing twice a week. Do you guys feel better? He goes, we do. Plus, in all of our latest tests, we've been clean. And so, well, with all that cases, do you feel good that I'm going to go ahead and just start practicing normal? And I said, yeah. I said, okay, then we're going to press forward. I mean, we had a test this morning. I mean, our whole program. And the cool thing, like I said, everybody involved in our program have been negative. So that I've been really excited about that. And so we just kind of press forward. We got to speed up some stuff, like I said, because we didn't tackle it all during camp. Didn't have spring ball. Probably picked the wrong team to play that had spring ball and had all of camp. But they're a team that I thought would be safe too. You know, like I said, the earlier part when Notre Dame fell out is who are some teams that I feel like will keep our guys safe too.
Just one follow. Now that you've seen the tape, obviously, you know, wasn't happy with the overall product, but were there some positives that once you went back and looked at the tape that you said, okay, well, at least we did this well?
Yeah, some. I mean, a lot of stuff. I mean, not much, but you see a lot of things like, obviously, there's a lot of room for improvement. You know, I'm encouraged because I guess more than anything on the tip, I was encouraged by our demeanor on the sideline. You know, we have the character of our program is really strong. There's no negativity. There's no finger pointing. A lot of great leadership on the sideline. But obviously we got to play better, but also got to be able to allow our guys to be able to play better by preparing better. So that's why I guess the silver lining for me is, you know, we can play football now. And we'll just kind of go from there.
Dave Preston, WTOP. You're on mute, Dave. You still here? If not, I will go to
Good afternoon, Coach Dave Preston. Mute. Okay, I thought I had muted my. Now I have not. Coach, first off, they say that the biggest improvement. I'm not? Okay.
Yeah, you're cutting in and out.
Yep, I'm not.
I'm going to skip on you. Bill Wagner, Annapolis Capital.
Hi, Coach.
Otherwise,
Can you walk us through how a post-game testing works? And because I'm guessing you don't want to have team activities till you know how your guys came out of the game. Can you kind of just walk us through how it works and when you get a test result back, knowing that, okay, here we are Monday and I'm comfortable with having a team-wide meeting or practice or whatever because I now know everyone's safe?
Well, I don't know if I should allow that. I mean, that should come from the medical people. But I just know that, you know, we have tests and they tell us we're all good. We get the results back. And, you know, it's been going well. like I said, we're probably the cleanest team in the country. Unfortunately, we suck in football right now. So it's, but it's my fault. Like I said, I don't blame anybody. I do not blame the players and the assistant coaches at all, because we had long discussions, and they're like, we got to do this, we got to do that. I know we're not going to do it, and I've talked to players and like, Coach, we need to hit more, and no, I'm not gonna. So it was all on me. We're not a very good football team, but how could you be a good football team if you don't practice live? You know what I mean? It's not the players' fault. It's my fault.
Right. So I'll see if Strauss will let me talk to Jim Barry about how it all works. But would it be fair to say that you do not restart your team activities each week until you know how you've come out of the game?
Because they're clean. I think the part about it is, no, we start, but, we both test before the game. And that's how we see, that's where all this bubble starts from. Everybody that's involved with the football team and coaches, you're all tested before the game. You get a ban, saying that you're cleared. And so the only people you interact with in the game are people that are supposedly negative. So
right,
I think,
including the
most
officials and whatnot.
Everybody. So, the only people allowed in there are people that have been tested.
Well, I know you're beating yourself up on one end, but on the other hand, what you did in preseason did work, because unlike a lot of other programs when they first came back, you didn't have outbreaks. So, you got to take some positives from your approach and then just figure out a way to make that work with what you got to do going forward.
Wax, I've been doing this a long time. So I knew the risk. I knew the risk if you didn't practice, what your team would look like. We didn't have spring ball. We were looking forward to finding a quarterback in spring to see what he could do. We didn't have that. You didn't have summer workouts. And while most people were able to come back June 1st, we came back early July, but we had to quarantine for 2 weeks. And then our first 2 weeks in July, our 2 weeks in July were walkthroughs. And so the only time we started to practice was in August. And then in August, I didn't hit. And that was my choice. And so I weighed all of it in. I weighed all of it. Are you going to have a bad football team? Or do you risk people's health? And with everything was going on, you look at it, I don't know what's going to happen. So I erred on that side. That's the side that if I was going to err on the side, I've been doing this a long time. I'm not trying to, get a statue or anything like that or any wins. Just my first thought was, keep our guys safe and try the best to mitigate the other part. And I was hoping we could do that, kind of crossing your fingers, knowing that the other side, that's a bad formula to getting a team ready. Or I could have went, we're going to practice normal and whatever happens, happens. And I didn't want to go that route. We probably would have been a better football team. But like I said, there are a lot of things that weighed in. Some of that, the health issues. We had a pretty traumatic thing happen in our program off season. So I'll give you an example. When I was an assistant coach, when there was lightning, I used to always be the guy, like if the head coach say, head indoors, we saw some lightning. I'm like, what? Come on, lightning. It's so far away. We're good. Keep practicing. But when you become the head coach and their health stuff, you decide to, I feel like I'm going to err on the side of protecting the players, families, and I know the fans don't want to hear that. And I obviously don't like losing. I hated losing, but it's the decision I made based on all of
that. Considering how things unfolded, is it tough to evaluate Dalen's performance? Perry came in and did a couple good things, but he didn't have a whole lot of chance either. But where are you with your quarterbacks, Coach? Does that game even play into that?
Yeah, like I said, it was kind of like, I shouldn't say this because BYU beat the crap out of us, but it's like our first live scrimmage with them, so you can kind of evaluate them, see how they're doing, and fortunately played against a good team. But no, I think, Ivan will continue to assess that. It's kind of hard to get an assessment because we didn't play very well. Two teams were playing at totally different speeds. It's like one team was playing normal football and we were playing touch football. You know what I mean? One team was playing a game, we were scrimmaging. Like I said, I've been in that stadium many times and played many people. We played Notre Dame, we played Ohio State, we played South Carolina. We've played a lot of really good teams over the years, all the teams in our conference, and we've never played like that, but why should we? I mean, we weren't prepared, and it was my fault.
So last for me, and I'll let someone else go on. Being that you now have 2 weeks before Tulane, and you mentioned that you're going to practice normally, would it be fair to say that evaluations sort of begin anew because now you'll be evaluating in a bit of a different light, right?
No doubt. No doubt. I mean, touch football is over with the bags, and stuff's over. No, we got to be careful too. I mean, we can't, old school, we're not talking about Oklahoma drills for 2 hours. That's not what I'm talking about. We just got to be smart, but we're just going to practice like how we normally practice, that the way we know that we can get a football team ready and count on our testing and our protocol to save us from other stuff and just think about football. The analogy that I gave to people is when we're practicing, it's like the NBA, like when they're playing basketball. When they come off, then they separate and social distance. But in the court, they play basketball. And that's what I want to do. When we're practicing, it's the way we practice. And then we're outside, we wear our mask and all this stuff. But that's what we're going to do now. And again, I want to make sure our team was okay with that. Because a lot of people are at different places. Some people are like, what? I don't want to wear a mask. And some people wear their mask going to the bathroom. And there's some people that are kind of in between. So I just want to make sure all of our players are okay. This is the way we're going to practice. Are you cool with it? If you're not, come talk to me. And that's kind of where we're at.
Mike James, Rivals. Mike, you there?
Mike looks frozen.
Sorry, I was muted. How long does it take to get up to game speed? You mentioned that you usually have spring and you have a couple weeks of fall camp, but now you have a week and a half, and a good part of that's going to be spent on Tulane prep. I mean, do you have any sense of how long it's going to take to get up to a point where you're satisfied?
I don't know, Mike. It's going to be hard, but you just got to do the best we can. I know I had long talks, even the way we were practicing before with our administration, like, okay, wait a minute, they got to come back in July. And then, the 2 weeks quarantine, that means they're going to have this certain amount of time. It's going to be tough to get them ready, and just conditioning. So our guys, you're gone for 3 months and on the pandemic. Some of our guys got in good shape because some guys got a home gym and some guys got places to run. Some guys weren't in great shape. But then you get here, and then for 2 weeks you're in quarantine, and all you can do is sit-ups and push-ups. So then any base that anybody got, they might have lost their conditioning base, Mike. And so I thought we built that up pretty good. I know it's not to where Coach Fitz wants it. I think we're getting better kind of where to, assignment-wise. We did so many walkthroughs and stuff. I think we're getting okay there. The other part of it, Mike, I don't know. It's one thing walking through, and like I said, it's one thing tackling a donut, but to do it live, hopefully we're better. Like somebody said, you always make your best improvements. We'll definitely make way more improvement now that we get to practice. I mean, we got no choice. I mean, it's the worst we've ever played. But I don't know how long that's going to take, Mike. We're going to push the envelope a little bit in some of the things that we do. But you also got to be careful. You know what I mean? Like I said, you can't have 2 hours of contact Oklahoma drills. I mean, we won't have anybody left, in 2 weeks. So we'll see how that goes. You know what I mean? But I'm encouraged, though, at least we can start doing some real football in practice.
In the past, when you've had a week off, you would usually spend the first week kind of focusing on yourself, and then the second week for kind of preparing for the game. Are you following a similar pattern now, or do you mix up what you're doing each day?
this has been the strangest year. Like I said, I normally have a schedule of what we do, but everything Mike's been day to day. Like, so we're going to go against each other tomorrow, have a physical practice. And normally I'd like to try to go again in doing that, but I got to see where we're at after that. But I have to cut back a little bit or tailor back on Friday and practice Saturday. Or I have 2 tough days, Thursday, Friday, then tail back things on Saturday. This has been hard, like I said, because maybe if we would have started, normal practicing in camp, I could have a better gauge right now. But because the gauge level, I don't really know, besides the fact I saw us play Saturday live and like, whoa, I mean, that we're not ready. We'll determine the rest. So based on what I'm saying, anything we did in last year, this is, we're just going by how the team looks. And so we'll just gauge how we're doing by today's practice and tomorrow's practice, kind of go from there. But really, as you said, the biggest focus is on us.
You mentioned earlier you were encouraged by your team's demeanor on the sideline. How are they doing in practice? Do you get any sense that maybe they're frustrated that what they put out on Saturday isn't representative of what they really are?
Yes. I mean, I know our team's definitely frustrated. I mean, we're a hard team to beat at home. I mean, we don't get beat like that from anybody. I mean, and to go and get beat like that, I mean, I felt, I was glad that, kept our guys safe, but I was definitely not happy for our guys to be able to, because nobody wants to experience that. I was sad for our players. But our guys we got tough kids, Mike. They want to press forward. They're resilient kids. I have great kids. I mean, like I said, some guys that came to me in person and say, Coach, are we hitting enough? And I said, no, but this is the way I want to practice. They're such great kids, Michael, right? They went forward. You know what I mean? And so we're going to move forward. I think these kids, they've said some good things in the meetings today, that's the past. We got to press forward. I got to help them, be able to get better. You know what I mean? Can't ask them to do something when I don't give them the opportunities to get better. So hopefully we'll get better quickly. And we've got a really good team in Tulane coming up.
Thanks, Coach.
Scott Wyckoff, WBAL Radio.
Hey, Coach. You've looked a lot of players in the eyes in meetings after losses and tough situations. Do you get a sense that they're fired up now that, yeah, they can strap it on and they can show, and maybe some guys who might have not made the first starting lineup say, hey, this is my chance now to prove that I could maybe step up and pressure that guy who is ahead of me in the depth chart? Do you get a sense that they're fired up, that they can really go at it now in practice?
Yeah, I think our guys are excited to move on. You know what I mean? That was not indicative of a Navy football team or program. That wasn't Navy football. That's not who we are. We're always well-conditioned, physical team. So I think they recognize that wasn't them. And like I said, they know, I mean, it was my fault. And the players, I talked about that even before the game. We're practicing differently. This isn't the way we normally practice, but try our best. And so, and it's not, how do I put this? They're not pointing the finger at me, but they know. I mean, these kids are great kids. I mean, they don't have to say, yeah, it was your fault. I mean, it's obvious. It was obvious. It's the way we practice. I mean, that was not a product that we put out there. And so because of that, I feel like guys are like, you know what, we're going to be doing things normally now, and they're ready to move forward.
Something that's probably frustrating for every coach who coaches 18, 19, 20-year-olds is sometimes their short memory span, but maybe that's an advantage now that kids this age, they can move on. They don't maybe look back as hard as we do because they've got so much ahead of them that they're like, yeah, we're ready to go. We're playing Tulane. It's my next chance to shine.
Well, we're excited to be one of the teams still playing, but they're also excited to move on after this game and not let this one loss turn into two and then press forward. I mean, I think that's the exciting thing. That's what they talked about today. Just not letting this one game turn into two losses.
A couple nice runs by Miles. Do you like the fact that he was able to show some explosiveness for you?
Yeah, we just needed more of it. But, yeah, I thought Miles, had some nice runs. You know what I mean? We need a few more of those bright spots. But, yeah, that was exciting.
And one final one for you, Coach. Did you get a sense that the assignments were right, that the guys knew where they were supposed to be and what they were supposed to do? It was just the physical nature of it that wasn't there?
Well, the physical nature obviously was the first part of it. We weren't playing like I said, we were scrimmaging and they were playing the game. But no assignments. I mean, I don't know if they're ever perfect, but we had a lot of mistakes too, in that first game.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Dave Preston, WTOP. I'll try you again. All right, move on. David Hale, ESPN.
Hey, Ken, I'm curious, in the run-up to the game, you mentioned some of the players kind of saying to you, like, hey, Coach, are we hitting enough? What were the conversations you had with your assistants and the coaching staff? And did they, were they kind of pushing you to maybe think otherwise? Or how much did you kind of wrestle with that decision back and forth as you got closer to game week?
I mean, it wasn't a wrestle. I knew what it would be. But I was, you kind of weigh two things. I mean, the coaches, all of them. We had long discussions, staff meeting about this. And I just told them, guys, this is the approach I want to take. We're probably going to suffer from a physical standpoint and being pad ready. But I want to err on the side of safety for our players. And I have great assistant coaches. They trust me. And, they voiced their opinion. And then I just said, guys, I guess the hard part about it, I didn't disagree with them. I was like, you're probably right. You're probably right that it's going to be hard for us to tackle. There's some concern about tackling. There's concern about coming off the ball, the way we normally come off the ball, O-line-wise, where we fire off the ball and we hit people. And, there's a lot of that. And I knew all of that, but I still chose to go down this road. So it wasn't like I was hoping, for a miracle, so to speak, that maybe we could, practice this way and still be ready for football. I mean, as the first couple of plays happened, it was going on in the game, I'm like, yikes. It's, we were moving at two different speeds. You know what I mean? Like I said, they're playing football. We were doing scrimmage, but like I said, it wasn't a surprise. I was just hoping for the better. I just chose safety of the other stuff. And the one discussion we were talking about was like, well, Coach, you got to be concerned about safety and tackling and stuff. Yeah, I'm definitely concerned on that. So I just, the one thing we try to work is open field, hawk tackling, just keeping your head out of it. Just didn't want anybody get, paralyzed or anything like that. But we had a lot of those discussions during the month, and I just made a decision early on that was the philosophy I was going to have, whether it costs us to win or lose. The priority for me was keeping our team safe, and whatever came below it was below it. It wasn't win and then, safety down here. It was like this. It turned out the way.
How emotional was it for you after that game Monday night? Did you kind of beat yourself up a little bit afterwards or struggle with the decision-making process, or how did you handle it emotionally?
I was sad for our guys because I know that's not us. I was sad to see our Navy football team go out and play like that. I was sad because that's not us. That's not the way we play. A big thing that we do is, I'll give you an example. So I'll just say, like, Coach Norwood was here we've been a lot of different places. And so he was saying, one day Coach Newberry had his baby in the spring. So Coach Norwood was calling plays. And we had two huddles going against the defense like we normally do in the spring. And we go pretty rapid fire. And I told Coach Norwood, hey, we're going to be coming pretty quickly at you in our team period. So just be ready for that as you're calling plays. That our offense, we're going to come pretty rapid fire. And then Coach Norwood goes, oh, I'm used to that at Baylor. We used to go up tempo fast. Yeah, I'm good. He had no idea how hard and how fast we practiced and everything we did. And after that, I remember talking to him after this. Man, I didn't know it was going to be like that. And so you miss all of that, the way we build our character, all of the stuff, how you formulate our team, the process of building our team. Because, again, we're never as big and as fast as everybody else, but it's those kinds of things that separate us. We didn't have that. We kind of went from the way we looked on the game is the way we practice. Hitting bags, tackling donuts. And unfortunately, they weren't donuts. They were moving, and they're big linemen. So I struggled with that from the way our product looked, because I know that's not us. But if I was to go back again, Dave, I'd probably do the same thing in the same scenario. You know what I mean? And just with now, knowing what you know now, with the testing, and now we can test, probably not. And there's so much stuff in the media. I don't know who to believe. Somebody says this, somebody says that, somebody this. That. I mean, you don't know what to believe and all that stuff. But so I erred on the side of caution for our team.
You, I know players have certainly there at Navy, but around the country have spoken so forcefully about wanting to play and how much this season means to them. So I'm sure you have an obligation to want to give that to them. But at the same time, was there part of you that was kind of hoping that, the powers that be would step in and say, like, you know what, I think we're not in a place to play right now. We need to take more time.
I don't know if I was there. I was at a place like, like you said, like everybody else, we're all taking in information. And I was like, okay, is this how we keep our team safe? And early on, you watch all these teams test positive, and this team had this many, and they had to stop practice. So like, well, then you hear all this stuff about the myocarditis and all the different things that are going on. So all this stuff started to weigh on me. Let's try to keep our guys safe. And then early on, our protocol was so tight that I was like, wow, we weren't having any positives. And I was like, well, I feel like what we're doing, our bubble, everything, our protocol is keeping us safe. And I was happy on that side of it. And I knew that we could keep our guys safe. But I know football, we were suffering. I was like, I know this wasn't the way to get ready football-wise. The only thing I was concerned about from a physical football standpoint was tackling, just making sure nobody got hurt. And so we tried to do some stuff, the open field tackling to mitigate it. But I feel like if our protocol was tight, we could keep people safe. And I wasn't, thinking that, because I feel like we need to get out and play. I mean, there's some other stuff going on besides the COVID-19. I've said this before. There's guys with some, there's mental stuff going on. There's a lot of depression and anxiety. I mean, we're human beings. We need to see the sun, man. We need to get out. We need to socialize. Staying in quarantine and being in isolation is not a good thing. I mean, when you're in prison, the thing that people do to make things worse on a prisoner is they isolate them. So, being inside, it's, obviously we're trying to stay safe, but there's also some of the other mental stuff too that we have to try to mitigate, trying to create a locker room space outdoors where guys can be outside. So I just want to try to make sure we're safe, and the football will suffer. Obviously the football suffered tremendously. Now I'm trying to reevaluate it again. Okay, we feel like we can do this safe. Now I feel like I'm in whatever the different phase. I feel like a different phase now. We can test twice. Feel like we can keep our team safe, and we'll practice.